Lilliam and Steph, thank you so much for agreeing to this interview. I've been reading Unearthed for the last few days, and I've fallen in love with the story, the culture, the characters, and I can't wait for this to be released on in the public. So, if we could, Lilliam, please explain to everyone about Unearthed, the Jessica Cruz story, for me.
Sure. So thank you so much. Unearthed is the origin story for Jessica Cruz. So if we all know Jessica Cruz, she's part of the Green Lantern universe, and she has superpowers. And this is the story when she is a high schooler living in Coast City, and we get to learn about her family and her family life and her friends. And we also learn that she has a secret that is really kind of causing her great anxiety. And this anxiety manifests into her dream, into this kind of dream world or dream realm that she enters, and has to navigate how she's going to deal with this, to keep this secret, but also maybe even learning that maybe perhaps keeping a secret isn't the way to go. When it comes, so it's really this pretty like modern kind of take of what it's like to be a young person when you're dealing with these huge burdens as a young person, these huge responsibilities kind of loaded on a young person who only wants to protect her family, who only wants to protect them at all costs.
Yeah, and the book deals with, obviously there's some lightheartedness, but there's also some serious issues involved as well. So there was quite a lot of drama and emotion, which worked beautifully with Steph's artwork and colors. So I feel it was a perfect pairing of you two getting together on this book. And Steph, what were some of the challenges for you whilst creating this beautiful artwork?
Well, thank you so much for having us first. But I guess that the challenge for me was to translate in image what Lillian has written in her script and her story because, like you said, there is a lot of lightheartedness when we see Jessica interact with her friends and live like her high schooler life. But there is also this overwhelming pressure and anxiety that she has to protect herself and kinda self-regulate how she acts because she knows that if something goes wrong, like she can put her family in danger. And so being a youngling and growing up and high school is hard, and then you add to the mix is like a bomb for trouble. So for me, I just really wanted to express that to the colors as well. And I remember early on we talked about like how we can integrate like that sort of expression with the color and how she can like how can it be like evident to the reader, right? And so that's when we took like the green lantern green colors and we assigned it into different emotions. So when everything's good and happy and even some of her friends have greens or emerald greens, and then yellow is when she's really anxious, and these red and orangey tones are her anxiety and anger. And it was really important for me to mix them well because I that was like the center of the story to understand her as a person. So I just didn't want it to get it lost over. And I guess that was like my biggest challenge to like keep the color palette in those in that spectrum so it wouldn't get like lost in the detail.
No, and again, it worked perfectly with Liam's writing, and there are certain parts where it's you feel the pressure and the anxiety that Jessica is going through, and so it's one of those books where you can't but help turn the page and find out where this story's going. I've read it a few times now, and that pressure still gets to a sort of a melting point, as it were. I
Mhm.
love the Aztec moments in this. There was lots of fantastic gods and goddesses and these very bright, vivid, sometimes scary images. Did you both have to sort of research into this at all? Because I love that aspect.
Oh yeah, I mean, I wanted to make sure that if I'm kind of incorporating any kind of mythology, that I'm making sure that I get aspects of those gods as accurate as possible. So to me, that was the fun part, is for me to
Mm.
do that research and just go and dig deep into like Google searches of what these, what these gods are connected with, and the god of smoking mirror. What does that look like? What does that mean? The goddess of the jade skirt, and so it was, and to really kind of find the perfect gods that will be Jessica's guides, regardless of whether or not their advice is good or not. It's just really just being kind of like the extremes of both ends of a god who maybe the smoking mirror is very much of like burn it all down, while the the god of the jade skirt is no, go to your friends. So I love that contrast, and I love to see how Steph was able to kind of illustrate that struggle for Jessica of who does she turn to, who does she listen to.
And that's the thing. There are a lot of very difficult choices for Jessica to make in this book. It also becomes at one part where it's sort of a make your own adventure story. You're not too sure whereabouts Jessica is going to go or what kind of person she's going to become. And I think that's a fantastic storyline for the young readers that are going to enjoy this story. It's people that are going through their own dramas of growing up and going through school, going through college, going through difficult positions in their life where choices are vital and the wrong choice can go the wrong way. So I feel that with the storyline and the artwork, it's a great way of educating and informing the world about some serious topics. And obviously, with the deportation issue and the deals with ICE in this story, you both handled that very well. What are you both most proud about Unearthed?
Well, I guess for me, I would say it would have to be that I know that Jessica is very much, she's very familiar to me. Like I know kids who are like that, and I know kids who are struggling and dealing with really immense pressures, and on their young lives. I mean, we know this now, even during this pandemic. Like we're seeing it now, and so I think for readers, it'll be. It's not like the superhero is so out there. Like it's not because they have this amazing power that they are powerful. It's more like Jessica Cruz and the collective and her friends and her family all have this power within them to cause change for good. And so that was kind of really exciting for me to be able to just try to write and thinking about those themes all the time.
Yeah, same for me. I would say that I guess beyond the ring and beyond the powers, just putting Jessica out there as like a proud Latina and she's Mexican, and that just excites me so much because you often get like a really, really bad stereotype for certain groups. So just for me to see her develop as a hero, and not with not in the sense that oh she has the ring so she's a superhero. It's like she was a hero even after that happened. Like the ring was sort of kind of like a graduation thing, and I am really really happy to put her to illustrate that side of her story. And even going back a little to the gods, I was really really happy to see that they have picked Aztec mythology, because in high school I was a really really fan of Mexican history and mythology, and and here it's always overlooked or seeing as something like almost tacky if you like it. And for me it was really really important to take the elements of Tezcatlipoca, all of the Mexican gods, and just make them the heart of who she is and make them proud. And this is part of your story and you should be proud of it. And there is nothing tacky with liking that or with like just resorting to pick that, because at the end of the day it's part of a culture. And for me as a Mexican it was really really important to do that. And also going a little bit on Lillian's statement, also there is like a lot of young people that face really hard situations and they feel really alone, like they can't trust anyone. And the book, I really wanted them to read the story and see that Jessica is just like them, right? Like she didn't need the ring, like she's already a hero because she exists as her. And that's something I'm really proud of.
Lillian, one more question for you about the book. How did you feel when you finally finished this wonderful tale and you'd completed all the different drafts and you had that final copy done? How was that feeling for you?
Oh, I mean, I think, and I've said this, I think before, is that every time I would get any kind of illustration from Steph, I was just in awe. So for me to be able to just, have, get the copies right in my house and just be able to go see it, on the paper, on, and feel it and the cover is just really beautiful to be able to just see that finished product after, I don't know, 2 or 3 years of working on it. I mean, we worked really for a long time, just making sure that we got the story correct and making sure that everything was working exactly the way it should work. So to see that finished product is just like, oh, I'm gonna take many pictures with it.
I'm very glad because it's just, as I said, a wonderful story, wonderful to look at. It's going to be an informative and educating book for sure. And I can't wait it to not only be in comic shops, but in libraries around the world because it is a truly wonderful piece of work. So thank you both for creating it.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm excited. I'm excited too for it to be in libraries and in all the comic book stores.